Tobacco consumption represents one of the greatest public health problems worldwide and is one of the major risk factors in the development of cardiovascular, respiratory, and neoplastic diseases. There are 6 million people worldwide who die every year from tobacco. The World Health Organization recalls that tobacco smoke is the second leading cause of death in the world and the first preventable cause of death. According to statistics, smoking kills one person every 6 seconds. About 85–90% of lung cancer deaths are due to tobacco smoking. Smoking increases the risk of developing lung cancer by 14 times and by 20 times for heavy smokers, i.e. those who consume more than 20 cigarettes a day. We know that the lungs are the fundamental organs of the respiratory system, which supply oxygen to the body, eliminate the carbon dioxide present in the blood, and allow gaseous exchanges between air and blood. Our lungs receive an average of 6 liters of air per minute, oxygen-rich air that supplies all the tissues of the human body, but also contains impurities and dust. Thanks to an extraordinary protection system, the air we breathe is previously filtered by the nose, which traps most of these impurities before they reach the lungs. Mucus lines the surface of the airways and has the job of trapping pathogens. It works like a conveyor belt because it is kept in constant motion by the coordinated and rhythmic vibrations of cilia, microscopic vibrating projections that resemble the bristles of a toothbrush. Their function is to move back and forth to clear particles from the airways, which have been blocked by mucus. When we inhale tobacco smoke, and with it the toxic and irritating substances, the defense mechanisms of the lungs are progressively weakened until they are completely destroyed. The body cannot filter all the millions of inhaled smoke particles. Smoking inhibits the movement of the vibratory cilia of the respiratory system to the point of paralyzing them. The cilia become unrecognizable and bald, like the bristles of an old toothbrush. It also increases the production of mucus in the main airways, which begins to stagnate, favoring the development of infections of various kinds and an accelerated decline in respiratory functions. The lack of action of cilia leads to the onset of a chronic cough typical of chronic bronchitis. The body tries in every way to get rid of the toxic substances inhaled with smoke. The substances contained in tobacco destroy the respiratory mucosa, which is no longer able to clean the airways. Tobacco damages the lung alveoli, small cluster-shaped structures with very thin and elastic walls, located at the extremity of the bronchioles. The primary role of the pulmonary alveoli is to enrich the blood with oxygen and clean it of carbon dioxide. Chronic inhalation of cigarette smoke is able to reduce the elasticity of the alveoli, hindering the gas exchange through their walls. The volume of the lungs decreases, as does the oxygen content in the blood. One of the consequences of tobacco smoke is pulmonary emphysema, i.e. the progressive and irreversible destruction of the walls of the alveoli, which leads to a reduction in the surface available for gas exchange. The alveoli turn into larger and more irregular pockets, and holes form inside the walls. Toxic and irritating substances in smoke can lead to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It is a chronic disease characterized by an irreversible narrowing of the airways. It is usually associated with a state of chronic inflammation of the lung tissue. Thus, the predisposition to respiratory infections of viral, bacterial, or fungal origin increases, and respiratory capacity and respiratory function are reduced. Difficulty in breathing, persistent cough, pain when swallowing are just some of the symptoms of this pathology. Tobacco smoke causes pulmonary fibrosis, a chronic respiratory disease that causes the replacement of normal lung tissue with fibrotic scar tissue. The lung begins a healing process, becoming more and more rigid. It loses its volume and becomes increasingly unable to exchange oxygen, thus presenting a picture of respiratory insufficiency. Lung damage caused by pulmonary fibrosis is not reversible. medicines, and certain therapies can sometimes help reduce symptoms, improving quality of life. Substances contained in tobacco damage DNA with the possibility of developing cancer cells. According to a study published in Nature, smokers run a 30 times higher risk of developing lung cancer than non-smokers. It can occur after several decades, but it is never too late to quit smoking. This study found that in smokers, about 25% of healthy lung cells contain mutations that promote cancer development, and that up to 6% contain at least 2 or 3. According to another study published in Science, it was found that there is an average of 1 lung cell gene mutation for every 50 cigarettes smoked. Who smokes a pack of 20 cigarettes for 1 year accumulates 150 mutations for each lung cell, 97 mutations for each cell of the larynx, 39 for each cell of the pharynx, 18 for each bladder cell, and 6 for each liver cell. What does this mean? Each DNA mutation can potentially trigger a series of cascading mutations which can lead to the formation of cancer cells. Quitting smoking does not make genetic alterations disappear, but avoids accumulating others. People who quit smoking decrease the risk of developing lung cancer over the course of 10-15 years. To know how your body changes when you stop smoking, I leave you the video above.